Another game ruler vlog. We got the boys. We got the boys. Look at them.
Hey!
Look at them. Game ruler, let's get it. All right, I'm gonna be playing some Janken Junkie today because I just like playing rock paper scissors. What can I say? I'll see you guys soon. Alrighty, on to the games. I am playing Janken Junkie. This is the only game I'm gonna have for you today. Hopefully, I'll get more. I'm gonna try to put images on screen too, but we're gonna be playing against Overlord Abyss, a summoning, of course, as you can tell. So yeah, I'm loving Janken Junkie. It's my favorite style of burn deck, thanks to its rules where you can play 6 copies of cards that have rock, paper, scissors in their text. It does actually help with the requirements for levels, because the level count is really low. It's only a level 40, but Drive 2, on top of being able to use 6 copies of Haunted Mansion, which of course means that neither player can attack that, or neither player can attack that turn, but if you win RPS, you get to attack once, is really nice because you're burn deck, so for the most part, you don't really care about attacking, although it has proven to be less than useful as I thought it would, and I have managed to cut it down to 4 of instead of 6 of like I was originally playing in today's video. You'll be seeing a deck list hopefully later whenever I finally get a chance to like sit down and record deck list of both my Supernatural list and this list too, which I think is really cool. I'm a huge fan of this list. It's been really fun. In both days I went 2-1 yesterday, losing to Death Jade in a best of 3 because he countered my Oni of the Tatari and he took my 3 swings. But we're gonna start here with our first game of RPS. Now I'm playing against my buddy Dale at Greg's, and if you know anything about Dale, he is an RPS champion, and I literally cannot beat him in RPS ever. It's actually insane. If this guy, this drill guy, what he does is that as a counter, RPS, if you win, deal damage, but if he attacks and hits and deals damage to your opponent, and it has breakthrough as well. If it does deal damage to your opponent, you can do RPS again, and if you win, you pop it and you do 2 damage to your opponent. This is on drive 2 damage, pretty big on top of a 653 unit, which is really strong. But on drive 2 damage alone is really, really useful. This is why I like this a little bit more than Trickster Burn, that one card. And we have this new boy, this new Danger Boy guy who can special summon himself from the graveyard by DRing 4, as well as being able to, being able to do a damage by popping one of your own units, including itself. And also, it's really convenient because during your opponent's turn, because damage has to resolve in this game, you can let your opponent attack into a unit, and then before damage resolves, you can pop that unit to do 1 damage to your opponent without having to worry about, and then the opponent, since they already attacked and the damage went through, they can't attack again that turn. So for instance, if it attacks a center column and they deal damage to the center column and it would kill it, you can pop that center column unit with the Danger Boy's ability, and then the damage has already gone through, which means it doesn't get to continue to the center. So yeah, that's pretty cool. It makes for a very good card, as well as its counter. Just being able to put a card from your opponent's graveyard to the damage zone is incredibly strong, because that 1, you don't get to proc counters, and 2, you are disrupting your opponent's graveyard at the same time. It's a very strong counter, as well as a very strong ability on a decently sized body. So we love that here. So we're just swinging away, which is another thing I really like about this deck. Like, because you get to play these really big bodies, you get to do some really big swing turns. We're already at, I think we put our opponent down to 7 damage already, and we've only have 2. It's really strong. Now, opponent does have 2 of the stadiums or field spells, or whatever you want to call them. Event, is it called fields? I think it's just called fields. That, what's it called? 2 of the fields that turn everything in his grave into darkness. If he gets a 3rd one, he can draw 1, trash 1 every turn, which is really nice. Really good for Abyss summoning as well. And we're just trying to figure out how he's just trying to figure out how he wants to play this turn, because what he can do, he has a really strong turn that he can do if he plays 1 more stadium. I don't know if that's his 2nd or 3rd one. I can't really tell. It's because I had to, the camera was really wonky when I recorded, so I had to zoom in really close. That is his 3rd one, because he's trashing and drawing. So yeah, that means it's his 3rd one. He's gonna go ahead and summon this guy, which is double Foolish Burial for this deck. He can Foolish exactly that one of the Rexes, that very specifically one of the Rexes, and then he can foolish a level 0 darkness card as well, which is Niblon, because that card is insanely broken in Overlord, and I kind of want to play Overlord again soon. I remember the first ever tournament I've ever done with in Gate Ruler was in set 3, and I played Overlord and won the tournament. It was really fun. It was like, it wasn't a huge tournament. It was like a 12-man tournament, I believe, but it was fun nonetheless. Taking the W was really nice. I went completely undefeated playing that Overlord deck. And now I really want to try it with this new, I guess it's not new, it's that card, and like there's an infinite heal loop combo I really want to try. So I really want to give that one a try in Overlord. So we'll see that soon, hopefully, whenever I get around to keeping the decks built together. I have so many decks for Overlord, but because I only have so many cards, they're scattered everywhere. But if you guys are interested in playing Gate Ruler, I actually do have a lot of decks. So if you guys are in the New Jersey area and want to come by to Greg's Games, you can always borrow a deck and just compete with us. It'll be fun. So he's taking back his summon because he knows what he wants to do here. He's gonna go ahead and summon Rex that clears the board, including his own monsters. So he doesn't want to actually have that summon. And because Niblon counts as both 2 units and any level in the grave, it's really, really strong. So here he can put back these 4, which will count as a 0, 1, 2, 3, and 5 cards at the same time to clear my board off my really strong guys. I will respond though by using my Danger Boys card. I'm going to get rid of itself to deal 1 damage to my opponent here before he clears my board. And he's shuffling up, once again, he forgot that it's just to the bottom, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, he did shuffling, you're not supposed to shuffle, you're just supposed to go straight to the bottom. But yeah, 1 damage, it is Rex, which is a counter. He's not at low enough health yet to end the turn, which would have been really funny to end the turn during his turn. That would have been awesome. Could you imagine ending the turn during his turn so that I get to play before he even gets to deal all the strike to me? But he's going to hit me for a whopping 6 strike here. We are going to get this guy, though, to put that Rex immediately in the damage zone because I don't want him to recover that later. So it's 1 damage. Second damage is, another damage here with Cosmic Ifrit, dealing 1 damage as a counter. So yeah, as you can tell, very burnerific, dude. This deck is insane. And then we're gonna get this Haunted Mansion. Haunted Mansion is so insane, but very, very disruptive for me. I did lose one of my games against Death Shade because of Haunted Mansion. Now we got this guy, Rock, Paper, Scissors, once again losing and doing it again and losing again, dude. I can't believe it, every time. This man is literally unbeatable in RPS. I cannot break this man. All right. So far we are 4-0 in RPS against my opponent. We did get Oni of the Tatori, 3 swings down the center, and we're just setting another card. He's gonna go ahead and get started. Let's see if we can win this turn right here. That is a total of 10 damage. Number 11 is going to be, we do have triple attack because we don't have a hand in this deck. So we did hit the cat, which does heals 1, deals 2. So if he can hit into one of those turn end cards, that'd be great for him. We'll see. Yeah, but he's currently at 9. He's going to take 2 more damage here from his cat before I do the 3rd strike. 1 damage and 2 damage. That is the match. Maybe deck profile if I can get my stuff together. So yeah, if not, I'll see you next week for another week of locals. Alrighty boys, deck profile time. I got all my stuff, so let's do this. Janken Junkie. You can call this a burn deck. You can call this a Danger Boys, what's it called? What are they called again? I don't remember what they're called, actually. Crime Knots. You can call this Crime Knot Burn. You can call this whatever you want. I just call it RPS Shenanigans. It's one of my favorite burn lists I've ever played. It's a lot of fun. I mean, it's more than just burn, obviously. Burn is just kind of supplementary to your fact that you have a bunch of really big bodies that can swing and do some crazy effect damage. So yeah, so if you guys don't know the rules of Janken Junkie is, if you once per turn, if you use RPS, you can, if you lose RPS, you can do it again. Level cap is 40, drive to, yeah, and also every card that has RPS in the text, you can play up to 6 copies of that card, which is what really enticed me to play this deck. I was like, oh, that's really cool. 6 copies of a card. It's actually pretty hype. So we're going to talk about the deck list. We're going to probably go over the mandatory cards first, at least for the build I'm playing. We're going to be playing, sorry for the glare. I'm going to try my best to avoid the glare, but we got 4 copies of the big boy himself. This is actually quite difficult to do because like, this is way different than like Digimon stuff where like, the text is a lot bigger. Okay, let's take a look here. All right, focus, my friend. There it is. Oh, we'll try like a regular copy. That's way easier to read. Let's see. Danger Boys, Kapu, Missile. Oh my God, bro, it's terrible. The lighting here is awful. Well, whatever. Danger Boy guy, right? He has the ability, as a counter, to put one of your opponent's cards in their graveyard into their damage zone, which is a very, very impactful counter because obviously you can put important cards into damage zone, such as cards that are for Abyss Summoning. You can put their targets in their grave, in their damage zone. For Death Shade, you can put some of their like little 2-cost minion thingies into their damage zone, stuff like that. Like, you can really take away a lot of cards' engines because a lot of cards play in the graveyard nowadays. Also, it does have the quick effect to quickly burn by attributing one of your units as an instant action too. So you can do it once during your turn, once during your opponent's turn. I don't really use it once during my turn unless I just have a completely trash unit I don't care about losing. But usually it's a quick action, so instant action I mean. So what happens, because of the way damage has to resolve in this game, when your opponent attacks one of your units, they're probably going to attack this first because at least they can get rid of this through its own effect. They attack this through, like, they hit you for 5 damage, you die, but before damage resolves, you can activate this instant action where you tribute one of your cards. So any card that's about to die, you can tribute with this card to burn 1 on your opponent, deals 1 damage to your opponent. And also, I'm playing a lot of Crime Knot cards as my level 0s, just so I can special summon them from the grave. Also, they're good just to keep bodies on board. We are playing the Monkey Dog combo guy. So having a bunch of bodies on board that can always swing, as well as just shore up defenses and also fuel this guy so you can summon him again, pretty good. Of course, we're playing 4 of these. I mean, we are playing a red-pink deck, so you have to play this guy. Gear up on drive. You can drive again, so it's more drives. An insane ability when attacking. All counters go to the graveyard, which is just nuts. And then 4/4/3, so 3 strike, pretty much the exact stats of Janken himself. Obviously 11/4/3, so it's pretty good. One of the best cards to play in a burn deck, if you're looking just to burn, on a drive deck especially, is of course Cosmic Ifrit. I am playing 4 of this guy, just because like on drive, deal 2 damage, 6/5/3 bodies, really strong. Stats don't really matter, but I mean like attributes don't really matter. 4 cost is pretty expensive, but because of the fact that we have plenty of level 0 cards that are really good in this deck, that are also RPS, it's pretty easy. And of course we got to play Darumageddon, the king himself, obviously on attack. Drive 1, 4/5/2, very strong body. So those are kind of like the mandatory, I want to say, for the build that I'm going for. This feels pretty mandatory. Everything else in this deck is kind of like to fuel. Well, I guess if you don't want to play this guy, you can cut a lot of what this deck does. But if you want to play like the RPS with the Crime Knot package, this is what I'm rocking with. Obviously, this makes up the bulk of your levels in this deck. Everything else is either reduction, 1, or 0. And we're going to start off with 6 copies of our main counter in the deck, this guy. This guy is Weird Chip BFD. So obviously he has Breakthrough, which is pretty decent on 4 attack body. You attack, deal damage. The cool thing about this card is when this deals damage to your opponent, you play RPS. Until a winner is determined, and if you win, you can pop this card to deal 2 more damage to your opponent. So this is a 1 cost, essentially 3 strike if you win. You have 2 chances to win thanks to Janken Junkie, and also its counter is deal damage to your opponent if you win the RPS as well. So we are playing a max 6 copies of this card because it's really strong. I mean, like, even if you hit it as a counter, it's a burn, while also being a strike 3 unit. It's really good. Other copies we are playing 6 copies of are this guy, #GG. Actually a very good card. So it's actually insane that this is only 0 card cost, by the way. You can set this card, play it when you're about to be dealt damage. You play rock, paper, scissors with your opponent until winner is determined. If you're the winner, then the damage dealt to you becomes 0 instead, and you deal 1 damage to your opponent. And obviously, if you lose, the damage dealt to you becomes 2, which is actually really strong whenever you have these like Alice's that can reach 5 strike, or that 1 cost Death Shade guy that can deal 4 strike. Regardless, you're plussing off this by reducing damage most of the time. Or you can even deal damage to your opponent, all while being a 0 cost, and you can play 6 copies because, once again, it's Janken Junkie. So we have 6 pretty strong defensive cards, and we are playing 8 copies of this guy right here. Only because his text allows us to play 8 of him, and he is a Crime Knot, which is good for the other guy. Also, other cards that are Crime Knots. This is also a Crime Knot, GG, and I think it's just Crime Knot actually. So currently I just showed you 12 Crime Knots that aren't the main boy that isn't the capo himself. So obviously we have a lot of crime knots that are all level 0, and I actually have a benefit. This is just DR3, special summon it from the grave. 3/1/1, pretty decent body. Also a Regan Leaf. I was thinking about playing a small Regan Leaf package in here, which is something I'm considering because there is a change I do want to make to this deck list, and I'll talk about that at the end. But for now, just because I want to reduce the amount of Haunted Mansion in this deck list, and for me to do that, I have to make some changes. But yeah, 3/1/1. Mostly playing because he's a crime knot. The other crime knot card I'm thinking about playing, actually not crime knot, Regan Leaf card I'm thinking about playing is the Shark that you can play 8 copies of as well. For now, this is what I'm playing because you can just special summon him from the graveyard. It's still a 3 attack unit, and he does fuel what the deck wants to do. We have, I guess we'll talk about both legends. Standard legends, we are playing Oni of the Tatari because it's -5, triple attacker. I did lose a game against Death Shade though, because they countered this and they just struck me. They actually had a 0 card hand, so they actually attacked me 3 more times. It was insane. Card is nuts, but it's really, really bad when they hit it against you. And then we have, of course, the unofficial 17th counter. When this guy is placed in damage zone from anywhere, you can special summon it. It's actually pretty good if you have the counter card Shortener's Cat, because you can put this directly into your damage zone, and if you haven't put in the damage zone yet, it gets to be special summoned immediately. So it's kind of like a heal 1, 7 HP is insane. You can also concealment and then set it, and then if you get attacked, you can just normal summon it, which is really, really nice. Pretty good card. I mean, unofficial 17th counter, man. That's all you gotta say. 17 counters in a deck, much better. I am playing a 1-of Space King Arthur because I realistically could not make space for more. I really, really want to play more of this card, but for now, it's just a 1-of. If you can make cuts and cut out some counters, if you really want to, you can. I mean, obviously between G's 6 and these 8, that's already, 14 counters? And of course we are playing Oni of the Tatsuri, which is another counter, so that's already 15 counters. This is the 16th one. It's really hard to make space for more of these guys unless you really don't want to play BFD Weird Chip and you just want to cut them down a little bit. Then maybe we just cut some Haunted Space Mansions and some Weird Chips and you play more of these. But I mean, this card's really good, and we already have a gear up unit in Oni of Yamaha. Is that how you say his name? Yumao, Oni Mask Messenger. I don't know how to say these names, bro. Correct me in the comments, please. So this thing is, if you have 5 or less life remaining, you can gear up into it. If you gear up into it, you are immune to effect damage. It gets discarded at the end of your opponent's turn. So, at the end of the next turn, I should say, not the end of your opponent's turn. 6/6/3, counter is heal 1 or gear up, if you meet the gear up requirements. So it's an insanely good card for slowing the game out, but so far I haven't needed it. So if I feel the absolute necessity to play this card at a 2 or 3 or 4 of, I can just cut like 3 ships and some Haunted Space Mansions. For now, we're just gonna rock with just the 1. Other cards that are good, 2 Space Eries. This is a card I'm probably gonna make a 4 of. It's just so good, dude. It's just force reveal, so you're forced to play it immediately, but 5 HP is really good. 1 strike is decent in case you have to strike with this guy, but it's on summon, you damage yourself. You like damaging yourself in burn decks because that's a chance to proc your own burn, and when it gets removed from the field, or should I say when it goes to the graveyard? I think it's very specific. When this is put in your graveyard, just heal a life. So you can heal away a non-crime knot card or a DR card, so that's pretty good. So I want to play 4 of these, we'll talk about that in a second. And then the last card we're playing 6 copies of, at least in this build, is going to be Haunted Space Mansion. Now, once again, Haunted Space Mansion is the reason why I can reach such high levels. Like, I can play 6 copies of a -4, which is crazy. If you guys don't know what this does, it is force reveal. Neither player can attack that turn. But if you are playing Janken Junkie, you can RPS with your opponent until a winner is determined. If you're the winner, you may attack again. You may attack once that turn. 1 attack, usually enough, unless they have a board that's very hard to deal with. Then it's kind of annoying. But I mean, the card's all right. It's just a -4. It's also a crime knot card, which is kind of like really, really strong for this deck. But I want to replace this because I have had many games where I'm so close to winning, but I keep driving into this card and it's caused me to not win the game because I can't attack. Stuff that I'm thinking about cutting is maybe like a few of these. And I'm thinking about cutting this card, although this card has done really, really well for me. I'm thinking about cutting this guy over here. This dragon is very strong. Let me check the text. I'm using this time to learn names. Kurikara, Dragon King of the Divine Sword. So he's really strong, 5/5/2 body. When it attacks, it deals a damage, and when it is attacked, it deals a damage. So it's dealing damage all the time, nonstop. Very, very good. But once again, like, I am losing a chance to swing for like a bunch of damage with this card. And I kind of like the pressure that I'm given. So what I'm thinking about doing is I actually have a small stack of cards I'm considering playing. Let's take a look here. I have, of course, I want to play 2 more Space Yuri. Card is kind of nuts. 0 cost, so it's easier to replace. Maybe some Sharkomon. Sharkoman is really cool because you can replace itself in the damage zone. Oh, I mean, it replaces something in the damage zone when destroyed. 2-1 is really garbage, to be honest, but being able to replace something in the damage zone when it's destroyed is really, really good. Pay 1 resource to flip cards. I can also flip cards in my damage zone face up, which is actually really nice, but of course I can't do that because I don't play any resources, so never mind. But yeah, the biggest thing is you can have 8 copies of this card. When it's destroyed, you may put it into your damage zone. If you do, put 1 card in damage zone in the graveyard, and if I want to, I can play the Regan Leaf people that can summon these from the deck, so I at least don't have to worry about seeing them in the deck or driving into them as much. So it's a good way to deck thin at the same time as being able to get bodies on board. So that's pretty good. So these are the guys I'm thinking. And then the last one I'm thinking about is this guy. He's another RPS unit. 0 on drive. He has the ability to play rock, paper, scissors till winners determined. Deal 1 damage to the losing player. If the losing player is you may instead put this in the graveyard to redo this ability. So if I lose, so I can play it twice, and if I lose both, I can put it in the graveyard and do it again and try the best to win. So that's really nice. 3/3/1 is not terrible, but it's probably the weakest of all of the RPS skills that I was looking at. So and it doesn't really match any of the stats I'm going for in this deck list, but you can argue the same thing for like Space Yuri and this guy, because this guy is a Future Float, Regan Leaf, Shark. No, it's not a Crime Knot, and if I'm cutting Crime Knots, I would like to play more Crime Knots, but I really don't have to if I play this card, because I can obviously just replace it with the non-Crime Knots in my damage zone. So that's why this is the most useful, and the Space Yuri is just a really strong card. So I don't know. My initial thoughts is cut all 3 of these, right? Which frees up 9 points in my deck list. Then I cut 2 of these, which increases my deck list count from 8 to 8. So I only have 1 point left, but that's 5 cards. I play 2 Space Yuris, 2 Sharkos, and then you play, is there a 1 cost? I actually don't remember if there's a 1 cost Regan Leaf Summoner. I don't think there is. I know there's a 2 cost and a 3 cost one. I'm pretty sure there is a 1 cost one that summons like 2 level 0s, maybe? I don't remember. I have to double check. Anyways, that's the deck list right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below, what you would change, if you like it with the Crime Knot skill, or if you don't like it with the Crime Knot skill. The Crime Knots are not super mandatory. You get to summon this thing back, but you don't actually really need to do it that much, which is why it's not fully focused on the list and why I'm not too concerned about dropping a few Haunted Space Mansions. But how do you think about Janken Junkie? Do you guys still think Trickster Burn is better, more consistent? What do you guys think in the comments down below? Thank you guys for watching the video, and I will see you next week for another Locals.